Good morning, everyone. Let's get all the alerts out here, shall we? Make sure everyone knows that we're live. Hopefully, everyone has a lot of good news on hymns today. Let's see. Hopefully, everyone is having a great start to the Thursday, albeit the market doesn't seem to be looking that way. But we will cover all of that today, cover what happened. Okay, beautiful. All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you for the kind messages last night, Mark. I didn't have time to look through the strategy. I definitely will tonight for that Asia IB that you mentioned. Rather interested in that stat. I usually just like trading the trend for Asia. So we'll see what that entails tonight. Trend ended up being very short. Good morning, Kevin. How you doing? It feels amazing that way. It is a little tricky to get sat down. Sometimes I do have a pretty busy month coming up here. So we'll see how the Asia session trading goes. I didn't get back until like 7:30 last night, 7:45, and M&Q just looked nasty. I did have that long last night, just before 8. Oh boy, voice cracks are starting early off this morning. A long just before 8. 8. Jeepers. A long just before 8 last night, and then we got that pretty nasty dump. And then the dump that we're looking at this morning. Let me pull this up and see what the news is on this. I didn't actually look myself. Walter Bloomberg is live. What the heck? I've never seen him go live. So it looks like as of 2 minutes ago, NVIDIA to delay new gaming chip due to memory chip shortage. That one shouldn't be the reason for the drop that we had at 7:15, unless that's just a continuation of it. Jobless claims came in as a beat, so that was at 8:30 candle. Not really a wick high or low formed on that. Could have been something with Bitcoin. Oh, okay, there it is. Microsoft got downgraded from Stifle, 1.7% down. And then maybe it had something to do with the January layoffs as well, but it's happened now. I'm not awake during these drops anyway, so it doesn't really concern me as to what the meaning behind the drop was. We're trading reactions based off of what the moves are anyway, so. All right, drawing in our previous day's 50, as always. We're just barely opening inside that range on Qs. We're opening just barely inside the range on SPY as well. So we should be expecting a pretty nasty continuation into open. I don't imagine we're going to go all the way up to that high today. And the stat for that is that once we break previous day's low or high, so let's say we open right here at 682.13. Previous day's low is at 681.82. If we break that, we have a 20% chance of going all the way up and hitting previous day's high, which is 691.57. So it's pretty unlikely that we have a reversal today, especially given how close we are to that low. Now, if we open outside of this, that changes what we're looking at completely, because we would go and look at the outside day stat. Yeah, pull Edgeful up sooner. This stat right here is what we'd be looking at, the outside bars. This is a 65% chance, 62% regardless of the gap. And we would be anticipating a move up to previous day's low, which on Qs is pretty much right where we are right now. SPY, same thing. So it is dependent on where we open in the next 22 minutes. If it opens above previous day's low, we have almost no chance of going to previous day's high. Well, yeah, not no chance, but 1 in 5, very low. If it opens below previous day's low, we have a 65% chance, given it's going to open right on this level anyway. We have a 65% chance of going up to 681.82, and then we could very easily have a continuation. I feel pretty silly about the IB in hindsight again yesterday, but we didn't manage to snag a pretty good win off the IB. And then we watched price continue all the way down to just about one full standard deviation. We barely missed one, hit zero point 0.5, almost at one, and then reversed back up. So, not too much to complain about in terms of the trade that we took. We did have a nice win on it. A little bit to complain about in terms of holding it, but it is what it is. Very nice trade regardless. And then, yeah, that about does it for what I'm anticipating it to open. I'm not looking for much else. I don't think that we're going to have a reversal. I think that we're probably at most going to get the gap filled because over the past 6 months, these gap fills on Qs in the 0.7 to 0.99 range, all of them have filled, even though we've only had one. They've all been filled. Even over the past 2 years, it's like a 50-50 or 78. That's never mind. So it's a 1/3 chance over the past 2 years. I wouldn't really concern the past 2 years. At most, I usually look at 6 months. Over the past year, we've had 5 gaps. 3 of them have been filled to the size. So we do have a good chance of filling the gap. I do not see us going all the way back up to previous day's high, which is for regular trading hours 615, for extended trading session 617.70. I do not see us going all the way back up to those levels. Does Edgeflow provide statistics on how much the IB typically retraces before breaking the high or low? It does not. It only provides the statistics on the breakout itself after the IB breaks out. There is this report right here, IBB initial balance breakout, and then you go to sub report by retracement. This is only for after the IB breaks. This is not for before. So this one shows you what happens when the IB retraces after it breaks, what happens when the IB retraces 10, 20, 30, 40, whatever you want to put for the metric. I only have it up to 30 because I never use this. This is what the standard report looks like, but that's showing you what happens when it retraces after the break, what the continuation play is. In this case, when it retraces 10%, it has an 88% chance of continuing, 85% if it's a bullish one, and then you can see it goes down the more it retraces. Good morning, Alan. How you doing? And then we'll get our London 50 drawn in here as well. There's our London 50. We had a pretty good continuation overnight, and then whatever the news we had come out this morning kind of put a wrench in the works. Retrace to 25% and continuation with the trend works well also. I'm usually done by that time frame. I don't want to take any more trades after that, but that retracement, and then I've gotten a lot of tips on because it went somewhat viral on Twitter not too long ago, a lot of tips on the lunch IB or the lunch range break, whatever that might be. What's going on, Bob? Good morning. Get my music going here. You tested the lunch hour break. It's not that good of a play. Just from the few days I looked at it, obviously that's not enough to validate a strategy, but it doesn't really make sense as to where the entry would be or the stop loss. Sorry about the gulps. Because I saw that guy talking about it, and then Like some plays, he shows that it's an entry off the wick that happens prior to 12, and the entry is after 12 or 1 o'clock. So yesterday, you would have taken an entry at the wick low at 600 and called the literal bottom for that trade. I don't know. Not what I'm going to be looking into. Good morning, Atley. How you doing? I'll be right back momentarily. Sorry about that. Didn't think you guys wanted to hear me blow my nose on stream or see it. Terrible if you played all sweeps of high and low. If only the first, still not that good. IB superior. The IB is superior. What's going on, SR Flips? How you doing? Stonks, what's going on? Sorry, just got in. What is that retracement after IB break report's called? It is going over to the initial balance breakout, then going to the sub report, going to buy retracement, and that shows you what happens after the IB retraces into the IB. This isn't something that I use, but it's another trade that you could take if you don't want to just rely on the IB. NFP is delayed until next week, by the way. I was wrong yesterday. So no NFP today. Tomorrow, sorry. Still going to be a little cautious with the size of the gap we have pre-market. It's not really that significant of news with this gap down. It looks like it's just off of Microsoft being downgraded. That's the only thing I can see in that time frame. You can see it lined up right with the same 715 drop. So Microsoft got downgraded. Revised price target of 392 down from 540, which seems pretty funny that they think it's going to end the year at 392. I never agree with the price targets on anything. Because if you go and look at, I'm not sure what website it is, but there's a website that tracks the win rate of all these analysts on Wall Street. I think like 70% of them have a win rate that's below 50%, something ridiculous like that. Yikes, that's rough, Bob. Win rate 42%. Average win 95. Average win 75. Average loss 95. Expectancy -10 per trade. Eesh. That's not good. Any news about the Apex payout? I will be taking it next Wednesday. Next Wednesday. So I have 4 more trading days, including today. 5 trading days. I did manage to. I know I posted that red P&L last night, but I did manage to catch a short. Also, for anyone that is on Apex, Lucid, Tradeify, Top Step, I think one of the only ones that hasn't restricted it is My Funded Futures. Micro Gold is no longer available to be traded on Apex specifically. On the other firms I just listed, Lucid, Tradeify, Top Step, they are restricting the number or the quantity that you can trade. They are blaming it on the CME data. I think it's more so the fact that they are probably losing a significant amount of money, a large amount of money on the fact that people are making so much money on shorts for silver. So if you are on Apex, you can no longer trade micro gold. You can no longer trade micro silver. You can't trade gold. You can't trade silver. They also restricted what you can trade on. Hold on, they just posted it in their Discord yesterday. Let me scroll up and find it. Okay, here we go. So, due to market volatility, Apex is temporarily halting trading on the following instruments: GC, silver, E-mini silver, E-mini gold, micro gold, micro silver, copper, platinum, palladium. Pretty much all the precious metals, including their micro and even E-mini variants. What happens when Apex rejects? I just have to trade for another 8 days. It's not anything bad. Good morning. How you doing, Bibin? Sorry, I had my mic muted for that. I thought I did anyway. If not, you just get 2 good mornings. Currently at 80 points. Nice. You went short, I'm assuming. Very good. For IB plays, this is the only play that retraced to 50%, not catching those plays that didn't retrace. Yesterday was as good as it gets for the IB. It's beautiful. Perfect. Perfect in every way. All right. This is what I wanted to see for some bullish price action and open. So I will actually, believe it or not, oh, we do have 6 minutes until open, so it might shift from there. But I'm going to be anticipating this right here on both SPY and Qs. I'm looking for that move right back up to 150. SPY with the gap down doesn't have that high of a chance of filling. Gap fill by size. About a 1 in 3 chance over the past year, 6 months. We've actually had 3 gaps down over the past 6 months of the size, and 2 of them have filled. So we are in favor of filling the gap up, meaning that this would push us all the way up to 686.09 on SPY. I'm going to be looking for a move to the upside. I am not looking for a continuation lower. I think that those price target raises, decreases, especially with a 600 psych level as well, I think those are a bunch of BS. I do not think that those price targets are accurate. I think they're just ways to manipulate the market lower, and then those same firms end up going and buying a significant amount. When you trade more of ES instead of NQ, I mean, I'm watching you trade ES more often this week. Yeah, it's because of the size of the gaps, the size of the IB. Sorry. Oh, we've had back-to-back days, 3 back-to-back days on NQ. So this range on Monday was $9. The range that we had on Tuesday was $11, and then the one that we had yesterday was $7 again. So that $7 range yesterday was 140 points from the midpoint of the IB. The one that we had on Monday was 160 points, and then the one that we had on Tuesday was the biggest one of them all. This one was 210 points. Even with 1 micro, the ranges on those IBs yesterday, that would have been $280. The 210 point range on Tuesday, that one would have been $420 if we caught it from 50%. And the reason I'm emphasizing that is because that means even on the opposing side of that IB, your loss is $420 if it fakes you out. Not saying that we're expecting it to. The IB is a very accurate model. But in the event that it does fake us out, like yesterday, SPY very nearly took the IB high. It was 60 cents away from the IB high. So if it does lose, you need to be okay with accepting the loss. And on the past 3 days, yesterday I wouldn't have been okay with accepting a $280 loss on 1 micro. Same thing for Tuesday. Tuesday would have been a $420 loss, and Monday would have been a $320 loss. And that, again, is with 1 micro. The reason I've swapped over to MES for I think we took, on Monday, I did take MNQ on this little retracement. I think this was a break-even trade. But for SPY Tuesday, this one would have been a $140 loss had we gotten faked out. Yesterday would have been a $120 loss, 22 points, 24 points on the loss. So the reason I switched over to MES this week is because of the size of the ranges, that's all. I'm not comfortable with taking those sizable losses. So I do not take the trade on MNQ. It's my first time on your stream. I really like what you do on Twitter. At the same time, I'm improving my English by watching your stream. Thanks, bro. I'm not sure if I'm the best to learn English from, but you're gonna start talking like me. Do, 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 do. What time is it there in you said you were in Melbourne, I think. Rolo, what time is it for you? It's gotta be like 11 o'clock, right? Almost midnight, maybe 10. Yeah, 10:30. Perth. Holy smokes. You're 25 hours ahead of me. That was so stupid. Not 25 hours. You're 11 hours ahead of me. 13, sorry. We get there in the end. Math is hard. How about the how about the temperature today, Rolo? What was it sitting at? All right, 43 seconds. Really want price to open underneath previous day's low. Previous day's low is 648 on Qs. We have 28 seconds to make sure that we open below that level. Found you on X like 2 weeks ago. Such an inspiration, and thank you for hosting these live streams. Learning a lot and trading much better. Glad to hear. 8 p.m. in India. Yeah, you guys are. It's on. I would say it's an advantage. Nah, 25 hours ahead sounds right. Yeah, math is hard. Math is hard. There we go. We opened underneath. Perfect. So the ultimate reversal is still in play. What we will be looking at is the outside day report. We have a 76% chance, 69% chance of reversing back up to take previous day's low on both SPY and Qs. So I'd like to see a wick lower get established. Just below London low, we sweep that, and then I want to see price go up to London 50. This is just a thesis. This isn't me taking a trade on anything, but this should also line up with the, I think there's a report for it. Reversal. No, it would just be the ultimate reversal in terms of this report. Let's see what it looks like for a Thursday. I guess Thursday is only a 1 in 3. So refining it down that much doesn't really. For Qs, it is. Qs has a 100% chance on Thursdays. 2-2. That's not really that significant of a data point. But that's what I'm looking at right now. I want to see a sweep London low, which we just did, and I want to see a price retrace. I want to see price retrace back up to like 603, 604, maybe a little bit higher. We should be anticipating a gap fill if this ends up pushing over previous day's low, because that would put the reversal in. Hi from India. 3:30 in Italy is not too bad. Worst time zone to be in is probably the East Coast. Not the East Coast, West Coast. I'm all over the place right now. So this is an honest question for everyone in here. Show of hands, if anyone has happened to, should be people from Europe, but any Americans, if you've happened to wake up at like 4 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning and taken a trade. Or if you wake up at 9 and take the first trade you see at 9:30. I know quite a few people have done that. West Coast is the best coast, not for trading New York. Gross. What I'm getting at with that point is that your sleep cycles are 100 minutes on average. So if you wake up at 9 o'clock and you want to trade at 9:30, your brain is still technically asleep. You won't wake up until the end of your sleep cycle. So if you start one, if you go to bed at, let's say, 10 o'clock, and each adult has about 5 to 6 sleep cycles each night, you won't fully be awake until, depending on which sleep cycle you interrupt. If you wake up at 6 a.m. after going to bed at 10, then your sleep cycle might end at like 6:30. If you wake up at 8 o'clock, you go to bed at like 11 or 11:30. Your sleep cycle won't finish until 100 minutes after 8, so 9:40. So if you even if you're waking up at 8, you go to bed at, let's say, 11:30, you wake up at 8, still getting 9 hours, 9.5 hours of sleep, but your brain won't be awake until 9:40. Up at 4 a.m., walk dog, get ready for work, trade till 8 a.m. PST and go to work. There you go. Yeah, that works fine then. So you're essentially getting up at 7 o'clock EST and then trading at, uh, yeah, no, it still works. You're fine. Did you take a trade on gold? No, because gold is restricted on Apex now. And we got our sweep. We got our outside bar filled. Well, do you think I'm getting 4+ hours of sleep a night? Or you could just never go to sleep and your brain never goes to sleep. There you go. That's how you avoid it. Got our London low sweep. Now I want to see price go up to London 50 and then ultimately up to 605.75. Should have a pretty good ultimate reversal chance today. I highly doubt we get all the way up to 617, previous day's high, but I do think that that gap fill is on the table. That also just made the IB high, and the IB low is significantly lower than where we are right now. Another $4 drop, so I don't think the odds of us retracing this much are that high either. Even for SPY, that's a $3 wick lower than where we are right now. So we should have a pretty good chance of continuing higher. I'd like to see the gap fill, and I'd ultimately like to see that entire Microsoft downgrade news get filled. Am I looking up today? I am leaning bullish, yes. Had we opened above previous day's low, I would not have been leaning bullish, but since we did, that puts in the outside day stat as well as the ultimate reversal chance, which technically signals us going all the way to previous day's high for regular trading hours, which would put us at 615. I think the range is too big today. These usually work a lot better when you have days like this. Friday last week where we did have a small gap down. Even this one didn't reverse. It also, sorry, not that's a bad example. It also has to line up with a outside day. There we go. So Wednesday last week. This one's a better example. This still a little too large of a range, but it did get the reversal all the way back down to previous day's high. I don't really see many other examples on here. Maybe Thursday, January 22nd. This one did reverse quite a bit, these 2 days combined. It works a lot better. We haven't had a recent week or a recent weekday that's had what the ideal setup for it is, but let's say the previous day's high was like right there, 610. Then that's a pretty good chance that we go and reverse up to that. But even then, that's still a $10 reversal back up. Usually they look better when they're like $7 to $8, but I mean, it is technically on the table that we get all the way back up to 618. Just not anticipating that. 615 even. It was pretty dirty wick back down. I do BB. Bibbin. BB or Bibbin? I don't know. 605 is what I'm going to be looking for on Q, 605.67. And then SPY should go all the way up to 686. Another $4 on that. I highly doubt we retrace back down. It's coming up on $6 now. London 50 was my first price target, and then I'm going to be looking for 605 gap fill. Bibbin. Bibbin. I said it right the first time. Pretty good read on that, I'd say. Very happy with that move. Oh, Frenchie got into M&Q longs too. $400 on those 4 accounts. That's pretty good. Wicked for a second and shot right back up. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Would have been another 150. You took the reversal trade and made 600. Very nice. In most instances, that trade, the thesis behind that trade would have changed completely had we opened above previous day's low. But because we opened below it, we wanted a sweep of London low, which we got perfectly. And now we want to see a gap fill. I think we'd have potential to go up to 610 today. Maybe a little bit more. Let's see if this arrow can get fulfilled. All 3 of you guys did. Anyone else happen to take longs there? I did not. It's on the first candle, but I'm very happy with the read on that. You got 40 points on M&Q longs. Closed for 750 profit. Closed for 340 profit. Very nice. How much you get, Bob? Quick in and out. That was, you got like 20, looks like 20-ish points, maybe? 22 points for you, Adita. Very nice. All right, London 50 might be a little more resistance than we can handle right now, but I think we should maintain the momentum up for a little bit. Only thing I don't like for right now is that we did sweep previous day's low and SPY. As long as we close over this in the next 2 minutes, we should be fine. I don't think we have anything for market data today, other than the initial jobs claims we had this morning. Never mind, we have job openings in 18 minutes. Long 24,664, 700 across 5 lucid accounts. Very nice. Very nice. And then we have 1 speaker. And then tomorrow, the consumer sentiment, that's red folder news. I got in very early recklessly and bailed at 200 MES and 2 or M&Q combined. Still a good trade. Long 24,664. Very nice. Where that entry have been. Wow, you almost got the bottom. I don't usually look for reversals like that, but I have been enjoying the sweeps of London low or London high. Yesterday we had a near sweep of London high, London low. Sorry, not London high. Ran that opening candle 614.66, and then same thing for Tuesday's open. Oops, sorry, I'm muted. No audio. I'm back. Just looking for a retracement to get in, essentially. I won't. Sorry, I missed that. I'm not going to be entering as early as I did yesterday. We entered at like 10:05, maybe a little bit earlier, but I want to see this retrace down to like 681.20 ish. Also depends on where the IB high forms prior to us getting in. 685.50, 685.60 should be the price target. Sorry, actually, that gap was at 686.11. And then Q's is looking much stronger than SPY. This one probably not going to take it again today because even with this opening candle, this is one 15-minute candle. The range we're looking at is almost 300 points. So from the midpoint to the IB high or low, we're already sitting at 140-ish, 145 points. And that should answer your question, Bibin, again, as to why I have not been taking the trade on M and Q this week. You guys still can. I mean, 50K accounts, I think, could handle it. 25K accounts, not so much. Yesterday, perfect representation of how the IB is supposed to work. 50% hit. So on the bright side, yes, you would have made 280 on the trade, holding it for full TP. I'm looking at it a bit glass half empty in the way that I anticipate a loss every time I enter a trade. That way I'm comfortable with the loss if it does happen. MGC, yeah, Freedom. They restricted trading access to micro gold. I love it. TP is inevitable with this song. There you go. Man, there's nothing worse than having a stuffy nose. Slightly runny nose. Charge my phone. So because we opened below this level, I'll draw that in a little bit clearer. We'll put text on that. So previous day's low. And we shall go and screenshots aren't working again. Don't tell me that's gonna make the stream lag. It's lagging a little bit. It's not too bad. How do you maintain calm and don't FOMO into the trade? Well, I just view this always as practicing. I've gotten the reason I don't FOMO is because I've said it multiple times. Trading for a purpose. If you have no purpose that you're trading for, mouth breather, what the heck does that mean? Can't breathe out of my nose. If you're talking to me, it's hot. Anyway, the IB is so reliable that I don't really worry about taking an A+ setup on that. But the reason I don't FOMO into trades is because that risk losing the accounts. If I risk losing the accounts, then I'm risking the purpose that I'm trading for, which whether it's a house or financial freedom or a car or whatever you're going for. Going up but low volume. I wouldn't really cut. We still have 8 minutes left in this candle. The volume's not too bad. The opening candle volume's great. The second candle, as long as we get above where it was yesterday, I'm fine with taking a long continuation on this. Volume is slightly decreasing. Volume on the green candles was much higher than the red candle coming in, so I would view this as more of a little fake out. I'm seeing the volume on the 1 minute. That's too low of a time frame. Okay. We have a little lag on the chart, but it's not too bad. We'll be later. We'll be on later. We're calling 2 minutes. No risk, no Rari. It's the Aiden Ross mentality that you have, Steve. Shame, shame, shame. 7 minutes for us to close over London 50. As long as we close over that, we should be fine. I'm not taking the trade this early on SPY. I think we need a little bit more time for this to retrace or validate that we have an IBI formed, which I think we should maintain upside. I just don't want to initiate that bias too soon. Work meeting at 10. Have a good one, everybody. You too, Alan. Thanks for stopping by. So as long as we close over London 50, we should be anticipating this right here. We almost went and hit that gap fill. We missed it by about $1, a little under $1. The gap fill that we're looking for is right here, 605.63. And the high of this candle was 604.80, so we missed it by 83 cents on the gap fill. But that's the level that I'm going to be looking for. If that doesn't hit, then we're probably just going to pitter out here for the rest of the day. But I think we should anticipate a nice continuation. Using only micros on the 25K accounts, correct? Yes. Do you trade a 30-minute IB on Thursdays? No, this is still the hourly one. This is still the hourly IB. The reason I'm not entering quite yet is because it's still too soon. We have 4 minutes left before news. And this IB, it could very well go and take a new low. So we might not get the push all the way to the gap fill. Q's has already made a great move. I'm very happy with the move that's made since the wick low. I don't think that it's going to retrace. I mean, I guess I can't really say that. It's already at 50% of the IB, so it wouldn't have to retrace that much. It's still a $5 drop on it from where it is right now. I don't think it's going to push down that low again. If it does, then the overall momentum of the market right now is too much. How long have you been trading? After how many years did you become profitable? I've been trading since I was 18. So technically, I've been trading for 8 years. I would say 18, 19, and 20, I didn't really take serious. So 6 years I've been trading, 6.5 years. And I started becoming profitable around the third year. So when I was 23, 22, 23, like 22 and a half. How long did it take for the first payout? I think I blew through. I don't know. It's hard to say because when I first started trading futures, and I fell into the same thing that a lot of you fall into, is where you go on social media and you see someone that made a $50,000 trade trading 15 NQ contracts, or they're up 75,000, and you think that is more money than I could ever fathom to have right now. So I'm going to go and do the same thing that they did. And you're telling me they only put $100 in and they are going to make this much. They don't show the fact that you can only request 5,000, or the fact that that's probably paper money, or the fact that you're probably going to lose if you trade like that, you're going to lose 75,000 on prop firm fees. So it probably took me, I don't know, blowing through like 30 accounts on Top Step. To be fair on those, I did copy trade all of them So like 6 sets of accounts, maybe 7, and then I got my first payout after, believe it or not, sizing down. And then the next thing that I went through after getting that payout, I blew the accounts, and then I said, I want to get back to where I was. I'm too good for these low level accounts," referring to evals. And then I ended up doing the same thing I did on the first set of trades, which was sizing up, trying to pass the evals. And I ended up spending nearly the entire payout that I got buying back the evals. And then finally, it all came back to being profitable after sizing down. And that's how I've been trading for like the past year and a half, 2 years with just micros. There was a little moment there in like April of last year where I was using April or May of last year where I was using the IB strat. I was using it a lot differently than I am now. I would wait for a price to get like 20 points away from breaking the IB low or the IB high, just breaking the IB in general. And I would go in with 2NQ. And I would just be looking for a quick break of the IB. Then I started realizing that is definitely not the way to trade on the IB. Luckily, I only did that on, I was doing it for like a week or two on alpha evals, advanced accounts. I might be eating my words here. We'll doesn't look like we're going back up to that gap fill unless the news comes in bullish here. 6 seconds. Isn't today the IB to avoid due for a loss? Depends on which high we form first. I think I did cover this last week actually. How's the load speed going? Doesn't look too bad. I think I did cover this last week. For SPY, the IB on a Thursday, 76%. So it's not too bad. Tuesday is the one that we're avoiding, not Thursdays. Today, it looks like we're probably going to go and make a new low. So we're going to switch up that bias. It depends on which level we go and take again. A lot of waiting right now, though. What's your average contract size per trade? 1 micro. Occasionally, I do 2 micros, but that will almost always be on MES if I do 2. You're buying Lucid 50K flex accounts. I would get the pro accounts instead of the flex accounts. I like the pros more than the flex, mainly because of the consistency requirement on the eval. It's also a lot. It's difficult for people to trade evals and find 2 setups over 2 days. Not saying that you should go and try to pass it in 1 day, but that's why most firms have the 2-day to pass rule, because if you just go into the account, this is why I like the 1 day to pass that Tradeify Growth and Lucid Pro have. A lot of you are going to trade recklessly. You're better off doing that on 1 day as opposed to doing it on 2. Although you shouldn't be rushing the evals, finding those 2 quality setups with trading recklessly over 2 days isn't going to be as good of a position for you to take. Which future prop is best? I like the accounts that I always go back to get payouts is Lucid Pro, the Lucid 25K Pros. The Tradeify Selects, I haven't passed them yet. I actually found it pretty difficult to pass them over 3 trading days because of the 40% consistency. I like the Tradeify Growths because of the lack of consistency in the eval phase, and I think they're pretty easy to get payouts on for the 50K growths anyway. But Lucid Pro and Tradeify Growth are the two that I like, and then I will be trying my funded futures as well. So we'll see what my review is on that. I will actually, funny enough, I will be live on my funded futures tomorrow at 10:30 to 11, 10:30 to 11:30. How many evals do I think I've blown total? Jeez. Probably well over 150. To be fair, I'm not trading them individually in most cases. I trade them in the groups that you can max trade. So if I go and trade on Lucid 25K Pros, I'll copy trade all 5 of them. Or Top Step 50Ks, when I did trade on Top Step, I'd copy trade all 5 of them. Sorry about that. I muted the wrong one. So I probably, I don't know, it's up there. 250, 200 maybe. The more I think about it, it's going to happen. No one's going to come in like saying that you've come into trading, which I've seen one person do this, saying that you've come into trading and that you've only blown like 20 prop accounts, but you've taken hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars in payouts from prop accounts. Complete and utter BS. Especially after you start getting payouts. Great. Also, we just went and took a new IB low, so we're looking for this and then down. That's what I'm anticipating for today, especially after people take those payouts. You have no respect for the eval anymore. So you just blow through them, and everyone goes through that phase. You need to treat the accounts with the same respect, regardless of what phase the account's in. So SPY took a new low. Now we need Qs to also go and take a new low. And then we're going to be looking for a retracement to the upside and then down. We almost got the ultimate reversal. It was pretty close. We missed the gap fill by 80 cents, which is still pretty good. If these two don't line up today, SPY and Qs, if they don't line up, then we're not going to be taking a trade. Right now, SPY is anticipating a low break. Qs is still anticipating a high break, although it's like 80% of the way towards making a new low. Still have to wait. Excuse me. Go and take a new low. Go take a quick wick down there. Then we can take that trade on the retracement. Pop back up, shoot right back down. That's what we want to see. It's almost there. It's almost there. It's almost there. So close. Just missed that new low by nothing at all. Just got to take that. Take that 597.35. Missed it by 10 cents. Oh, this is a very good song. Bop by Dan Seals. Give that song a listen, Hot. It's not your rap, but I think you'll like it. KP's not in here, but I think you'd like it too. Oh, KP is in here. It is. It's called Bop by Dan Seals. That's the song right there. Technically a country song, but I wouldn't really say it's super country. Can't hear your music. I'm not playing it because it would interfere with the stream. New low? Yes. Got it. So now we just need a retracement. I would like to see at least London low on SPY. We do have another 12 minutes before we can get into the trade. I did say I'm not going to enter as early as I did yesterday, but on MES, this range is going to be it's still quite a bit, 27 points. Still a good ways. It's 135. How do you like it, Hot? Yeah, no, I never exited anything quicker in my entire life. Anything? Not my style. I thought you were talking about a trade. Oh, that's the last song recommendation you'll take from me. All right, you can stop making new lows now. We've seen that you've taken a new low. You can bounce anytime. And bounce back up at any moment, please. Or not. Okay, try that one. I'll redeem myself. I did listen to quite a bit of rap in college. I can't deny that. That was one of my favorite ones. Wait a minute. You said rap and then you just posted a picture of Charlie XCX. Shoot, what's the Roman numeral for that? You listen to everything but country? Oh, I see. I see. Gonna boot you out of the stream just for that. Okay. Can we get a pullback? Buying a pullback. It's gonna have everyone blowing their screen so we can get a pullback. This is what I was talking about for the IB as well, where the IB 50 is depending on the range that gets made. The lower it pushes while the IB's forming, or the higher, the IB 50 moves with that. So, yes, we do want it to retrace to 50% of the IB. That 50% is going to continue to move as the IB is forming. That's why sometimes the levels of significance, like the IB moved from being up at 601.75 to now being right in line with previous day's low. So that's an added confluence, but it also shows that yes, this close below previous day's low was a validation in itself, but it also closed underneath IB50 and wicked over it. Now it's also moving further down. So we still want to retrace back up. If not, then we're not going to be chasing this. We do have 15 minutes for it to bounce. So there's that at least. Also on SPY, this is coming up on a now 30-point range for the IB. 33 points on the IB, which is quite a bit on SPY. Definitely will not be taking it on Qs because the Q range is now well over the 140 points it just was, and it's probably up to, I'm going to guess it's almost at 200. We almost went up to 25. That's another level I would have been looking for the gap fill as well, but no cigar. So we're looking at high to low, 400 points, 410 points, meaning that the IB is 205 on M&Q right now, and it's still making a new low, actually. That means it is going to be a $410 move if we get all the way back up to the IB 50. ES just took a daily swing, might retrace. Hopefully, I mean, I'm looking for it to retrace a little bit so we can go back short. Did you listen to that one, Hot? Let me redeem myself. December 21st low on ES. What's the validation on December 21st? Why is that level important? Bitcoin's at 68.5. Oh my goodness. VIX is only at 22 with this downside too. That's pretty impressive. There we go. There we go. 20th, sorry, undercut a sweep. Gotcha. So anyone want to answer for me before I say it? Why are we not taking the entry right now? This is a pretty good retracement. Why are we not taking it right now? Not at 50, but there's also another reason. It's technically three reasons. Three reasons why we're not taking the trade right now. Too early is one of them. The too large of a range is why we're not taking it on M and Q. So I'll give you that one, Adita. So I guess there's four of them. 50 in line with London low. It is. Three reasons I say pretty much every stream. Bob got it. Too early. Risk reward is poor and not at the 50. What I would be looking for exactly is that it's too early. It's not 10:23 yet. That's when we'll front run it. The risk reward is poor. And then it's also not at the 50, but we may take it at like 6.829 and just put a 1-to-1 at it. The range being too big is also another one. That's a good one, Morgan. Yes, I'm a little paper hander today. little baby today. We want to see it get up to, ideally, it gets up to 6846. Even then, 36-point break on SPY is going to be quite a bit. So we might, as much as I don't really want to, I might cut the stop loss in half because I don't really want to risk 36 points. It's almost $200 on a single MES. It's $180 on one MES contract. So uh, we might cut the stop loss a little early. Man, there's so many apps that I have to get for. It's an app for everything nowadays. I don't really know where to put this. That's fine right there. Okay, just have to wait. We got to be patient. Got to wait. Still have another 4 minutes before we can get in. If everyone blows on their screen together, we should be able to get price to push back up to 50%. 6845 is going to be the ideal. Yes, you can, Raj. Lucid has no restrictions on any of their accounts for news trading. You already have a winning day, but I want more buffer. Don't be greedy, Hot. Don't be greedy. You know how many times I've been up a significant amount and I've looked for a little bit more, and then even if it's a valid setup, it loses, and that sends you into a little whirlspin where you just, instead of looking for a winning day or looking for the little more profit you're looking for that profit that you had prior to the loss. So let's say you're up 150 right now. We take the IB trade. You go from up 150 to down to $70 green. Even though you're still green on the day, you're going to be a little upset that you're not at the 150 green that you were. So you're going to keep trading to get back up to the 150, and then you end up losing more. And then after all is said and done, you've taken 10 more trades to get back up to the 150 and costed yourself like $75 in fees doing it. So sometimes it's better off to just call it there. How do you work on psychology while in a trade? What's your mindset? Lowering the risk will change everything for you. That's what I'm saying. Name unknown. There's AI for everything. Like I've had to download 4 new apps this week for something that I've never used before. Which reporter are you using to take this trade? I am using the IB by rejection report around SPY. The IB high was formed first, so we are targeting the IB low for Thursday, 60% chance of happening. We just need to get a retracement back up. It wouldn't have been that bad of a reward right there. 19 points is still just about 200. Sorry, not 200, just about $100, but too early into the trade. Just got an equal high retrace too. Sorry, I was setting this chat room up on my phone. Still have to wait anyway. Where is my logo? There we go. It doesn't look like we're gonna get a retracement. Do you need to wait until 10:30? Yes, we do. All right, we have 6 minutes for something magical to happen. Hopefully, it pops back up. I guess this wouldn't have been too bad of an entry. We could have gotten the same one that we got on Thursday. Even though it wasn't on M&Q, we still had this nice retracement Tuesday. We had the nice retracement yesterday. This would have been most similar to Tuesday. What was the day that we had this week? That last week? Was it last week? Yeah, right here. So this would have been most similar to actually last Thursday, funny enough. That wick, the candle ended up closing red, and then the IB got taken within the next couple of seconds. And this probably was almost the same exact retracement as well. Let's slap for the IB today. Let's slap on the 75. I don't even need to. You can see it's exactly the same as last Thursday. So here's today's retracement. We got 678.51. Looks like it's about 25% of the IB retraced. Last Thursday, same exact thing. About 25% of the IB got retraced. We did take the entry there. That was after the little MGC stupid trade that I took. We have 5 minutes left. If I do take it, I'd still rather get it to retrace up a little bit more than this. I'm eager to get in because I very much expect it to go to the IB low. Q's looks better. Again, it's a little bit closer to 50% than SPY, but it's still a 210 point range. So did I get into a trade? Not yet. Not yet. We're still waiting. And we might very well be waiting until tomorrow. I might not take anything. Fantastic morning. You get shorts off the London 50 roll or longs? What's the IB stat for today? Targeting the low. Targeting the low, Eddie. Oh man, just one made a new low. So we got would have had the full TP hit had we entered perfectly at 629, 625 even. Would have been 16 points with the perfect entry on the IB. Hindsight 2020, as always. This one I assume is going to be exactly the same as last Thursday. Like a picture perfect break from last Thursday. Same exact thing that happened over here. We're going to get a little wick on the tail end of this candle, and then the 10:30 one's probably going to slash right through it immediately. Short at London mid, short at London low. London mid was holding, went short. Very nice. Good job. Be careful, Steve. Let's see how close the IB is to presenting the same exact setup today. Same exact chart, rather, not setup. 2 minutes left. I'm not really that hopeful that it's going to get a push back up. So this one might just be a miss today, unfortunately. VIX over 20 seems too volatile for the strategy, even with one micro. That's why I'm trading on MES and not MNQ. I mean, even MES, this is a little too much of a risk today. Even with an entry at 50%, that's like a with where we are now, it just made a new high. So it's just about 40 points. I dragged the whole thing down on accident. It's just about 40 points. That's $200 on one micro for MES, which never happens. The most I've seen on MES is like 120. But Q's is sitting at $420 for the IB break. So that one's even worse. 6,800 is probably going to be where we stop for the day. I don't think we're going to get below that. And same for Q's, M and Q. Sorry, I'm hopping so many charts right now. 24.5 is probably going to be the low today. I don't think we'll go much past that. Hopefully we get a retracement in the next candle, though. Called the opening move extremely well. So happy with that. Retrace, please. 10 seconds. Just don't slash right through the IB low. I beg. If it does, then we're just going to sit here and twiddle our thumbs for the next 30 minutes. Push a little bit more for me. It's only a 10-point reward right now. So still not a good risk. We need a little bit more reward. The higher it goes, the better the risk reward is. VIX keeps going up while SPY and Q still sitting in the same place. Is this divergence? No. So the VIX isn't a counter to the market, contrary to popular belief. The VIX is a measure of volatility. The higher the VIX is, the higher the movement is. Typically, it does line up with the market going down when the VIX goes up because people get scared. When people get scared, the volatility increases. Another measure you guys can use for that is the fear greed index. Use this all the time. Fear and greed index on CNN should be at extreme fear right now. It's at fear 34. So the lower this goes, the higher the VIX goes. The higher the VIX is, the larger the moves on any given time frame are. Just because VIX is going up does not mean the market needs to go down, though. That is not how they line up. They line up in terms of volatility. When the VIX is trading at 15 to 17, that's when you get movement like what we had from August all the way until October. Market wasn't really moving that volatile. You see a lot of doji candles even back in the summer of last year. When the VIX gets higher, then you start seeing movement like what we had in November. The VIX goes back down to 15 to 17. We get chop movement in December. VIX spikes up. We get a higher implied move, so on and so forth. Now that the VIX is at 22, you can see that we've had pretty much 3 back-to-back negative 1% days on SPY. I think the IB also just got taken right there. And it is. IB's done on both SPY and Qs, just about on Qs. SPY IB got taken, so it's all done there. Qs is just about there. I could have definitely entered at 629. We would have gotten an entry at probably at best like 6825 and maybe caught 16 points to the IB low. Keep in mind the IB low was previously sitting at 6810, so 15 points, still a good $75 trade. Would we have held it the whole time? Maybe. Would we have stopped out early and taken $40 profit? Maybe as well. Hard to say. M&Q actually still has the IB intact, so just because we didn't take an IB trade doesn't mean to go and risk one on this. It can easily wick 20 points up or down. This is even from that pullback on the 10-15 candle. This is 110 points, the IB low. Once the IB is formed, what report do you look for? I look at the IB by rejection. And then if you wanted to, I also go and look at the IB by levels. This tells you what the percent chance for a continuation is. And there's quite a few custom metrics on this. It's a breakdown day today. Even though I'm on M&Q, it's not there yet. It's well over a 0.9% IB range, and it's a Thursday. So this tells you what happens after the IB breaks. What are the chances you get a continuation? We've had 0 instances where a IB this large on a Thursday has continued to go lower. So after we break this IB, and that also lines up with why I was saying I don't think we're going to go below 25.5. After we break this IB, price is probably done for the entire day. So we'll not be expecting a continued move after this. I'm out. Stay safe, guys. Thanks. See you, Rolo. Well, I ended up getting my wish anyway. I didn't. We're not going to be taking a trade today unless M&Q. No, never mind. Not even going to say it. I was going to say if M&Q gets a move up to like 597, we could. But that would still be like a $200 risk on one micro. So it's not worth it. I get tagged on here. Didn't really get that many views on the Twitter stream today. We'll see that later. Did Lucid restrict gold also? Lucid did not. I guess they kind of did. It's not necessarily that the firms are restricting gold. It's due to the volatility. The CME has raised pretty much all the margin requirements. So 2 months ago, you would have been able to trade. Oh, God, I hate the voice cracks. Maybe not 2 months ago. Like 6 months ago, you would have been able to trade 5 gold contracts, 5 gold minis with 50,000. Still would have been able to trade 5 silver minis with 50,000. But now for 1 silver mini, it's $87,000. Even though silver's trading at, where is it? Silver's trading at 73. Even though it's at 73, it still costs, I think the peak was like $120,000 to trade silver. What these firms is, they just reduced the limit that you could trade. So you could trade, I think 5 micros is the most you can go up to now. That's the same exact thing I said yesterday, Morgan. I actually typed that same exact message out in the Discord yesterday. I said, I think it's because they're losing so much money on sim accounts that are taking 1 silver contract and they're making $20,000 in 30 minutes, which is not normal. But at the same time, the CME did increase the limit. So, I mean, up to your discretion, but I think it's, even though it's a sim account, it makes no sense why they would restrict the limit in a sim account. It has no impact on what the market's doing. We peaked at peaking on YouTube right now, though. Thank you for all tuning in. I use the Lucid 25K Pros and the Tradify 50K selects because they're most similar to the 25K pros. This also kind of lines up with what I was speaking on yesterday. This move right now, anytime we're a couple cents away from breaking the IB, it usually goes in. I don't think M&Q broke it. No, it did not. It usually, anytime it's a couple cents away, it usually has like a whip effect that goes all the way back up. Whipsaw, seesaw, whiplash. I don't know what word I'm going for there. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying, Morgan. That it's funny that they're blaming it on the CME, even though every single trade, unless you are in a live account, every single trade is a sim environment. It's on a sim account. So it makes 0 sense that they're trying to tell people, hey, the CME is making it so we are restricting your sim profits that you can take, or your sim amounts that you can take on micro gold or silver or gold in general. Could definitely take it a short right now to the IB. I don't like when it misses it by a couple of cents like this. Could be overthinking. At the same time, this is like a 25% retracement of the IB, and it's still 120 points to the IB low. So if you guys wanted to, you could take it to the low. I'm probably not going to take that trade. I'm just going to sit here and watch it. Oh, UPS guys here. That's what the dogs are barking at. I figured they're what would the stop loss be in a trade like that, though? 20 points is way too tight. You can't risk that little. It would have to be like 40. But even then, you have to have precision and being able to call when this candle's going to pivot, which is why I don't want to trade it, especially with how volatile the market is. Like you would have been green there for, let's say we got an entry at 25,650 for whatever reason. We would have been green and then down $58 and then back up to $58 and then back down to 70 and then just around break even right now. Can I do a video on inside bars and how you make an entry for it? Absolutely. It's more so a bias that you get from the inside bars. Everything that I trade is stemmed from the IB. 5-minute ATR. I don't know what that means. Forgive me. On NQ. I'm assuming that's something to do with like RSI. Since we swept liquidity, does it mean something? Meaning we could go higher. Yeah, that's another reason. SPY swept that low. The chances that we continue lower are almost non-existent for today because we haven't had any Thursdays with this large of a range that have continued lower. Qs, on the same note, we haven't taken the IB low. So this could be a no break today. It could also mean that we're going to reverse all the way, because I've seen this happen several times. It could mean we reverse all the way back to the IB high. 4 Qs on the IB stat by rejection for today. It's a 57% chance it has a win. So it means that it could either be Thursdays are really bad for the IB, which, if you recall me saying this several times on Thursdays, they usually do suck for the IB. For the IB taking the high, I don't think it's going to retrace all the way up there. It could. I still will not be touching this as much as I want to. And I'm itching to get into an IB trade, and that's a very difficult part that comes with trading. No trade is still going to be better than kind of a half-assed loss. Or if we, heaven forbid, we go in here and we take an entry at 24/7, it's a cycle. Let's say we want to take a short at 24/7. We have a stop loss at 40 points. Do we put our stop loss at 50 points? And this is all with one micro, by the way. So one micro, the reward is the IB low, us pushing all the way down another 140 points from where we are right now. The risk is technically price moving all the way up to 24,962, which would be $600 on one micro from where we are right now, 305 points. So $610 would be our risk. So I think it's a little bit better to average to range. 30 to 50 is volatile. Yeah, it all stems back to the VIX. A show of hands for anyone that is in the stream right now that wants to take a short to the IB on Qs. I'm eager to. In general, show of hands of people that are eager to get into a trade because we just missed the IB low on SPY. So the hardest part is being able to just not take anything, being able to look at this and be like, I don't really want to take anything. Sorry, I really want to take a trade. I very much want to take a trade to the IB low, but what's the risk behind it? How much are we willing to risk to maybe make $200, maybe make $100? Do we want to risk, as I just said, $600 because that's the invalidation on this trade? Probably not. Just saw you're going on My Funded Futures TV. Tilt is coming, so I'm shutting down. Very good, Sophia. What'd she just say? And don't get sidetracked by the hindsight. This was just a $2 drop, although it doesn't really seem like it because the candles aren't that big. This was 598 to 596.36. So this one candle right here is $2 from where that wick high was. And that correlates over to 78 points, 88 points. Thank you, Miguel. Yeah, you can join join in on one stream. Those stats you quoted today, though, very slim chance of going further lower, kind of made up my mind. Yeah. On the same note, you don't want to be going long because the risk is very much the short side. So you don't want to be inversing the trend because of how powerful the trend has been to the downside. You also don't want to take on too much risk. And it's not even the fact that the risk is that much. It's what comes after you may take a loss. So let's say we tried taking 40 points, or we entered at 24,650. We had a 40-point stop in. That would have just gotten stopped out. 50-point stop would have gotten stopped out. 60 points, $120. We still would have been in. The point being, what happens after you take a loss is more crucial than taking the loss itself. It's more impactful. Does a lot of people just go and tilt. You take a loss, you want to see green immediately. So if you're unable to accept the red, which everyone's guilty of it, I'm guilty of it. I did a little bit last night. I kind of let my trade continue a little bit longer than it should have. So everyone wants to see green always. Sorry about the lag on the screen right now. I don't know what that's from. PC's not overheating. Camera's fine. Have you taken the trade? I have not. I have not taken the trade today, no. Was slightly tempted to take shorts, but whether it was overthinking that we didn't take shorts, I think it was a good play in not taking shorts. Obviously, this is all hindsight, so we know that price would have dropped 110 points after just talking about taking shorts. On the same note, in real time, where would we have caught that entry? Would we have caught it at 24,650? Would we have got it at 24,630? Would we have gotten at 24,700? Perfect. Probably not. Okay, let's see what this new thing I just got added into is. I am short at 6820.25. There you go, 16 points. Probably wouldn't have taken it on MES because MES already broke the IB. Better reward would have been M and Q if you had taken a short. But hopefully that answers all of the questions you guys had regarding why I'm on this week, especially why I'm on MES and not M and Q. Just de-risking. The thing that tricks people is what you mentioned, taking on too much risk. Realistically, proper invalidation of the play is huge on large range days like today, and people aren't going to put a stop loss that far away, not risk that much on a trade, so they tighten the stop loss and take multiple stop outs, chasing the play. Quote, often multiple stop outs chasing a bias or a play equals one massive stop loss, so worth not taking the A plus setup. Yes, exactly. Could not have said it better myself. I've done that several times during Asia session where I set the stop loss too tight. So I'll take one M and Q. Let's say I put a 40-point stop on it, or better yet, I take two MES or two M and Q, and I put a 20-point stop on it. Too tight of a stop. I still end up losing $80, and then I want to go and take the same trade again. Enter the same trade, two M and Q, 20-point stop. Now instead of being down 80 on one M and Q, I'm down 160 with a two. And then the trade ends up going in the direction I was looking for. Now that I've taken two stop outs in that direction, I end up switching my bias. I'll go long. Now I take a third stop out. Before you know it, you're down 240, 320, whatever it might be. So I am on the same boat as what you just said, not taking multiple small stop losses that have them add up to a huge stop loss. And from personal experience as well, after taking repeat stop losses, you usually go into that third or fourth or fifth trade with no stop loss, and you're just saying, you know what, screw it, I've been right this whole time. I'm just letting this trade fly. And then you build the account's gone. And to avoid that, it all comes from the hardest part about trading. Let the dog out. They're behind me playing right now. Sorry if you just heard them bark. It's gotta go potty. No, I'll actually show you what she was doing. Send me a picture of it. I haven't showed you guys a picture of them for a while. Here you go. I'll put it in, and then I'll show it on stream. How do I open this chat here? Open chat. There we go. I put it in the lounge chat. Once it loads, that is. If I can find the picture. I just had it. There you go. This is what they're doing right outside the door. Where's the stream? I would just sit there the whole time and yap and bark. High pitched. My IB MGC algo just went short. Be careful on that. Make sure that you don't have it set on a risk that's too high, especially with these firms shutting down the ability to trade in micros. Let's take a look at what gold's doing. I think it's moving like quite a bit. Yeah, there you go. It actually was a beautiful short. IB high. Actually, no, never mind. That broke the wrong direction. The low form first, then the high form second. So you'd be targeting the high, and it ended up just breaking the low. It's weird. We don't trade gold during New York. No. Uh, 100.5-minute candle, crazy. Yeah. The hardest part about trading and what will prevent you from tilting is not getting into non-A plus setups. Avoiding that loss is what prevents you from losing more, believe it or not. Even if it's a $40 loss, even if it's a $100 loss, whatever it is, avoiding that first loss is the most crucial part about becoming profitable. So I will be ending my day at a whopping $18 in profit per account, 16, 18, 17 on average. That will be where my day ends. I will not be taking any other setups. I will not be taking any other trades. I will close Tradeovate and I will go on about my day. Is that an Aussie on the left? It is. It is an Aussie and a Shetland sheepdog, the two dogs I have. Still hasn't taken the IB low yet. I do expect it to, but it's a little suspicious how it missed the IB low in that 1030 candle when SPY went and took it already. SPY doesn't have the additional draw to the downside that Q's does. So Q's is going to be trading on its own right now, which may cause it to do something like this and never actually go and take the IB low, because we've seen it do this exact same thing like 3 times in recent trading days. Last one was right here, Thursday, January 22nd. It actually happened on a Thursday too. So SPY, we just reviewed this too. SPY went and took the IB low on this Thursday. Q's did not. And then what did Q's end up doing for the entire day? Nothing. Pushed up, pushed back down, closed sideways, never end up breaking the IB. So it could be a day like this. And let's actually pull up that same Thursday. Was that Thursday the 22nd? Sorry if the stream's laggy right now. I don't know why it's doing that on Google Chrome. So same exact day we were just looking at. Quick break on the IB, very quick break on the IB, and then this one ended up going and taking the high, 691.30. And as I say that, Q's is about to go and take the IB low, isn't it? Yeah, it's almost there. Thanks, man. Yeah, no problem. No problem at all. Thank you guys for tuning in. Check out my dog YouTube channel. Kind of dropped doing this a while, but the idea of making informative videos. Oops. The idea of making informative videos And all the breeds love your dogs. Thank you. All right, everyone. That will do it for the stream today. Thank you guys for tuning in. We are cutting out a minute or two early here. If you guys have any questions, feel free to reach out. All right, guys. Have a great rest of your day. I'll see you all tomorrow, the Discord. For anyone that tuned in on YouTube, X, I will be live tomorrow, 10:30 to 10:30 to 11:30 on YouTube with My Funded Futures TV. So I will see you guys later. Have a great rest of your day. Great weekend. If you don't tune in tomorrow, I'll see you everyone on Tuesday. Peace out.